man. So like I said, we cut right through the chase, and as always, this stream is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. The themes and everything talked about in here is not to be considered financial advice. Make sure you consult with a financial advisor before you make any financial moves. And you may also hear about some affiliate links that in the description and comments below. Check them out. No pressure to buy, no pressure to click, no pressure to do anything. Just a good way of supporting the stream. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when I go live on all platforms. Yeah, man. So I hope y'all are doing good this morning. I hope your trading week started off good. But we're gonna get right into it. As always, we want to give you a snapshot of the market. Like I said, I'm stopping playing music all the way through. It helps me chop it up when I chop it up later on different platforms. So we appreciate you guys for that. For bearing with me on that, but yeah, man. What's going on here? Okay, there we go. I'm giving you a market snapshot. That's how we start off the day. The S&P 5. So you know the landscape of how cold or hot the water is. Right now the S&P 500 is down, slightly down, 0.07%. Europe markets are holding steady. The dollar is up 0.3. That's it's a good sign. The Chinese market, the CSI 300, is also up 1.5%. And gold, like we talked about yesterday, we didn't know if it was gonna it pulled back a little bit when the markets open, but we didn't know if it was going to continue the pullback. It pulled back about 2.28%. So the narrative of the morning is investors are watching inflation data like a hawk, while gold cools off. So the dollar strengthening is pressuring commodities. So with the dollar getting strengthening, people are pulling out of commodities, and China's rebound may just be getting started. Like we said yesterday, this is China week. But just to jump off of China real quick, we'll go into the top 5 headlines. First, congratulations, Shanae Takachi becoming the first Japanese female prime minister. Shanae, I'll just call her Shanae, no disrespect, won the preliminary vote to become Japan's prime minister, making her the first woman to clinch the nation's top leadership role. Congratulations. She secured 237 votes in the lower house and won a runoff vote in the upper house, and will now face challenges including persistent inflation and domestic political instability. She's appointed her cabinet and all that good stuff, and she's got a visit by President Trump coming up. I don't know when that's coming up. It's next week. But her policy combo of stimulus and rate pause could keep Japan bonds sliding. If you've been paying attention to the market, Japan's got some financial issues going on over there. And the once widowmaker short trade on Japan bond is finally winning. So, a trade that used to be, basically if you know what a widowmaker is, it's an artery that, usually once you have like a stroke or something, it's a widowmaker. But, it seems to be finally winning. So congrats to her. And we'll move on. Oh yeah. So the widow trade becomes a world beater as Japan bonds sink. The global bond funds have been attracted to the trade known as a widowmaker, which involves borrowing and selling Japanese government bonds in expectation of tumbling prices. So Japan bonds have lost more than 4% this year, making them the worst performer in the world's government bond market due to bets on interest rate hikes and fears of a spending blitz by other countries. So that trade's basically winning now. We won't go too too much into that, but check that article out. Now we go on to Trump. Trump rare earth deal signed between the USA and Australia. Trump makes rare earth deal with Australia to fight China. The U.S. and Australia will jointly invest in mines and processing projects in Australia to boost production of critical minerals. So the critical minerals are everywhere. The problem is the mining, and a lot of it is the regulations and stuff around it. So again, we got jockeying going on before this meeting, this big meeting between the U.S. and China coming on at the end of the month. Something that Trump's doing to get leverage is he made a deal with Australia to mine some stuff. So the agreement includes Australian processing of rare earths and other critical minerals, with the U.S. and Australia pledging to protect their domestic markets from unfair trade practices, i.e., what's going on in China. The deal will begin with the U.S. and Australia each paying more than $1 billion over the next 6 months for the initial project, with further projects planned in both countries. So they're coming together trying to make something happen in the rare earths. So this would help the U.S. gain ground in China in the critical minerals race. And so off of this, Aussie stocks surge. We have, of course, Alcoa. I've talked about this on my stream before. They pulled back a little bit, but now they're up 8%. And rare earth shares jumped in Sydney after President Trump signed this agreement with the Australian Prime Minister. The U.S. Export-Import Bank is considering financing support for several miners. So there's all kind of money flowing in on this. Some of these stocks are down pre-market. So, do your own research, but I'm sure one of them is a good buy. But I've always been a fan of Alcoa and the things that they're doing. So check those guys out. Credit markets flashing red. We've been talking about the credit markets, for the better part of this week and last week. Brazil's Ambipar crashes from no worries to bankruptcy in weeks. So this went from 0 to 60 real fast, from sugar to sheesh. The Bank of Europe starts stress testing private credit, and so UK explores private credit stress tests. So basically, the Bank of not the Bank of Europe, the Bank of England has begun industry outreach about stress testing the private credit markets due to rising concerns that the sector could be harboring systemic threats to financial stability. The UK bank is weighing the viability of a system-wide exploratory scenario. Basically, they just want to, check under the hood and see what's going on because, like Jamie Dimon said, you hiding something. I know Zion's came out and reported, and the other bank involved in that fraud stuff came out and reported, and initially no one saw anything that could give them a concern about, the losses that they've, that they're taking on. But we'll continue to watch this story as well. Apple nears $4 trillion valuation. Apple's back. Apple hits first record of 2025 as the iPhone optimism fuels a rebound. Apple shares hit their first record of the year after Loop Capital upgraded the stock from a hold to a buy, citing positive iPhone demand. iPhone base models are booming in Asia, as we talked about, but Philips Securities also just downgraded them, which is strange. And the stock, so that may have something to do with this morning's slip of about 0.5% pre-market. So is this momentum or a mirage? The recent strength comes as signs of stronger than expected demand, like we said, but not everyone is sure that the early momentum for the iPhone 17 justifies Apple's valuation. At one time, Apple was the most valuable company, but this current administration kind of came out and attacked them on a couple things that had the stock down. But I think it was down to almost 200. It's up to 262 right now. So still a good buy, but not the momentum that they wanted. They were the most valuable company at one point, and they still may be. I have to do my research, but yeah. So we'll continue to watch Apple. And maybe something. Actually, I think it's in my playbook for offense, but we'll talk about that later. Goldman Basket shows painful month for shorts caught in the squeeze. So if you know anything about a short squeeze, if you go back to probably was it 2020, the whole GameStop deal, it was basically called a short squeeze. So the NASDAQ is ripping higher, another, and people are wondering, is this another short squeeze? Goldman's most shorted basket is up 16% this month. So, when you have trillions or billions of dollars shorting a stock and it keeps going up, at some point those positions could get leveraged. And what that means is they're forced to sell because, they're not anticipating it going up, and it goes up, 16% is a lot. So what happens is, those people sell their positions and the stock just shoots up. So Goldman is kind of warning that, this basket is showing signs that, we could be seeing, it could be an opportunity for a short. So short sellers are getting crushed, and then that's what usually happens in this. Like I said, people have billions and billions of dollars on a position that it's pretty much foolproof in their minds. But once it goes up, they have to liquidate those positions or add more money to keep them, and that's usually not a good deal. So we'll continue to watch that as well. For signs of a big opportunity there. That's pretty much all I got in the news. Yeah, go ahead. Another thing in the news is we got renters are conning their way into luxury apartments. Atlanta is the home of this. Atlanta, where up to half of rental applications contain fraudulent information, is the epicenter of a national surge in these scams. So, if you're renting apartments or if you're investing in this market, beware. That's just another thing I seen on the Wall Street Journal. That people are doing. And then what else we have here? We got Coinbase strikes a deal for crypto investing platform Echo. So Coinbase they struck a roughly $375 million deal to acquire Echo, a platform that allows crypto companies to quickly raise capital directly on their blockchain. So this could be, this kind of goes in line with the basically a new form of venture capitalism, or like I said, raising capital for to fund your business, and that's going to the crypto markets. So that could be a good thing for Echo. I don't know if Echo is publicly traded, but Coinbase is, and they're up 2.3% on that news. And lastly, another thing I seen in the news is, I don't know if yesterday after I got off a stream, I tried to make some trades, and RH was giving me trouble. You know what I'm saying? And I thought it was, I didn't know what it was, so I actually didn't take any trades. I just said I'm gonna take the day off because it was frustrating me. But come to find out, the day Amazon broke the internet for millions of Americans. So basically there was an outage with AWS, and that's Amazon Web Services, and most of the most of the powerful companies or apps are using AWS. So if you were wondering what was going on with your favorite app, it wasn't you, it wasn't your internet. You paid your bill, but there was an outage going on with AWS. And it affected people across the U.S. But surprisingly, Amazon stock is up 1.6% off of this news, so it didn't really affect the stock that much. All right, so that's pretty much all I have for the news. Let's go to the charts. And I don't think my chart's up, so let me make sure we pull that up here. 1 second. I was supposed to check that before the stream. Sorry about that, guys. All right, there we go. So yeah, we're gonna go straight to the charts and see who's on the move this morning. We got, like I said, Zion's Bank. They released their Zion's Bank reported quarter 2025 net earnings of $221 million, or $1.48 per share. That's up from $2.04 last year, and revenue hit $861 million and 8.7% increase. So Zion's Bank is suing two Cantor Group funds for $60 million over alleged collateral So they're I guess the fact that people say that maybe the market is looking at the fact that they are suing these companies to try to recover their losses shows enough due diligence on their part that they won't, at least, they may be affected by this one, but they're changing their SOPs to make sure that this doesn't happen again, or something like this doesn't happen again. So, pre-market, they're up 3%, and that's a surprise despite the $50-60 million fraud issue that they have going on. Core Science, CORZ, Core Scientific, they are up 5.5% on undervalued takeover rejection. Leading proxy advisor firm, Institutional Shareholders Services recommend Core Scientific shareholders vote against the sale to CoreWeave on gold proxy card. So basically, I guess there's a good thing that they're rejecting this takeover, and they're going to continue to do business. CoreWeave, I won't say that's a bad deal, but it does help them out, and they are. Of course, we got these ceilings here at 2020 and 2039, but they're up pre-market to 1971. So take a look at those guys. CCK, Crown Holding. Crown Holding is up 8.6% after raising their guidance. So, a lot of people are lowering their guidance. They're raising it, and they're up pre-market to the top end of the Fibonacci extension. And, like I said, they beat earnings by 12.5% and also revenue by 2%. So that's Crown Holding. Then you got PopMart, the Labubu makers. Not PopMart, PopMart. Labubus are taking off. Are they in the U.S. market? No, I think they're in I think I got the right one. Yeah, they're in the whatever that market is, but basically their overall revenue for the quarter three is up 245%, 250%. So, and that's, the Labubu dolls are going viral. Everybody wants one, real or fake. They have them. I don't know how much they cost, but I don't know that I'll be buying one. But a 250% revenue jump, hey, I would sell them as well. And then last on the move, Goldman Sachs, they slip after a JP Morgan downgrade. JP Morgan's attacking everybody. So Goldman Sachs has forward price per earnings of 14x, basically, with 13.5% of the revenue and 53.7% earnings per share growth over 2 years. And that's not bad, but I guess that's not enough for JP Morgan. So they downgraded him, and it is affecting the stock. So that leads me into our weekly playbook. Like I said, we want to start off with offense sectors to watch. Again, NVIDIA, and I'm not going to spend too much time on them because they haven't changed. NVIDIA, we got NVIDIA. They're holding steady on a slight uptrend here, approaching the 200 EMA. Hopefully, we get across that and get a nice bump. And AMD as well. Like I said, they hit a double top, but they seem to have broken out of it. Pre-market, they are slightly down, but I don't see this being a big issue for them. Broadcom, AVGO. Broadcom is holding steady as well. They are riding the cloud demand, and we just talked about Core Science's CoreWeave, or rejecting the CoreWeave deal that has them up. Consumer tech, Apple, we talked about those guys. AAPL, Apple, they're up. So the sales are hot despite the downgrade from multiple firms. Logitech, I use Logitech all the time when I'm typing. I feel they make great products, and they're they have AI peripherals in demand, and they'll continue to make some good advancements in the peripheral space, like keyboards, mouse, stuff like that. You're probably always going to have to use those. And then, like I said, we have crypto mining companies, Web3 infrastructure. You got Cypher Mining, CIFR. CIFR is a little bit of a pullback, coming down to the 200 EMA, but they broke above it, so they'll probably test it and have another bump. Clean Spark, this is a new one. CLSK, Clean Spark, there on NASDAQ. Again, another pullback. But all these guys are riding the Bitcoin momentum. And, of course, Mara Holdings, same thing, 200 EMA testing, down below it, pre-market, but hopefully we get a bump there. But those are some good offensive plays there. And then we talked about defense, Visor, bounce potential on booster season. It is booster season. I'm not recommending or not unrecommending the boosters. Do whatever your physician tells you. But it is that season, so there could be a seasonal bump for that. You got Thermo, Pfizer, TMO. They are a life sciences hedge. They have earnings coming out. Let me just see what news we have. Thermo Pfizer Scientific will report basically on Wednesday. They're expecting $10 billion in revenue and $5.50 a share in earnings following last quarter. So that's a little bit up from last quarter. Hopefully, if they beat that, then we could see a nice bounce with those guys. You got gold. Dips could be buys with China tension. We don't really know what's going to happen on this meeting. If you say then I need you to buy my lottery tickets. But as you can see, gold has this CDF has pulled back a little bit off of a double top. It's retraced, or it's fell down to the neckline. I don't know if it's going to break that. But it is down to 41.96, so that is a nice pull in. But this pullback, but this could be good buying potential if we start getting some bad press or bad signals from this upcoming meeting. And then again, NEM, that's New Mount Corporation. They are also down pretty significantly. pre-market. So again, there's some support here at 87.72. So that could be a good buy-in point as well. Not giving you financial advice, just kind of talking through my trades out loud. And then again, you have your energy stocks, new or next era energy, NEE. Riding that 200 EMA right now. You got American Water. AM. This is a new one. A new play. AWK is a ticker. They are up, and they look to be on a nice uptrend right here. So, that's a safe yield favorite. Any news unit receives funding to upgrade water assets. So that's always good. That usually means more revenue. Then GIS, General Mills, coming off of a slump, breaking out, we could see an uptrend on that. And that's it. That's all I have. But make sure you drop your offensive and defensive plays in the chat. Like I said, this is chess, not checkers. Each one teach one. We all got to lean on each other to beat this market, and that's the goal. So, man, I think that's about all I have for today's read report. I guess my final thoughts is markets don't wait for you to catch up, but that's why we all got to band together. You know what I'm saying? And if that's what I'm doing the stream for, to make sure we don't leave anyone behind. We got to cover each one every day. So make sure you hit that notification bell. Make sure you subscribe and share it with someone. If you know someone that's trying to get into trading and they don't really necessarily understand the fundamentals, hopefully through my stream you'll get at least you'll know how to navigate the markets or know how to read the markets and see what's going on. That's my goal, is to give that information to you and just share that. And also, if they don't have any platforms or have anything set up, check out the description below. They have I have all kind of affiliates and streamlined setups with Coinbase. Also adding coming up TradingView. If you don't know, during this time they have a very good Black Friday sale. And I use TradingView to do all of my charting. And I don't know what I would do without it. It is a paid subscription. I do believe I have the ultimate subscription, so I have all of the bells and whistles. But on a normal day that could be pretty expensive. But during the Black Friday holidays, they offer huge discounts. I want to say it's up to 50%, but don't quote me on it. Check out the link in my bio, and that'll send you right to it. Just sign up for a free trial, and just so you're familiar when we're familiar with it when the Black Friday sale kicks in. Like I said, it's going to be huge discounts. Man, kind of went by pretty fast today. And that's all I have, man. So you guys make sure you stay sharp, and stay ready. And this has been your Read Report for today. I'm Jay Reed, and I'm out. Peace.